Kids! Guess what?
What?
I'm not telling.
What? Why not?
I said guess, Coconut.
Oh, okay. You won the fastest bird competition finally?
We don't speak about that, Katie.
Oh, sorry. You found a secret waterhole that no one else knows about.
If only.
Well then, did you...
You're never gonna guess. I'll just tell you. I finished writing the Koco amazing story of Coco's life.
You finished it?
Yes, I did.
Are you sure about that?
Do you think I would be telling you if I hadn't finished it, Smarty Pants?
That's why I was confused.
Look, Katie, what are you getting at?
Well, you're still alive, aren't you?
I think that's pretty obvious. I'm the star of the show. Of course I'm alive.
Okay, co-star, but sure. Well, if you're still alive, how can you be finished the Koco amazing story of Coco's life if you still got half a life left to live? Unless those grey hairs really do mean something.
Hey! Hold on. There, the Koco amazing story of Coco's life, part 1, finished.
That sounds better.
Come and play with Katie and Koco. That's the way. Get ready, let's go. Flying through the air with Koco, telling stories with Katie. You and I together, meeting my friends that help us every day. Katie and Koco, play and sing, pray and bring. You and I, we do our thing as Katie and Koco.
Since you seem to be in the writing mood today, Koco, shall I tell you a story about one of my friends who wrote so much you're hardly going to believe it?
Try me. I reckon I can believe it. I'm a writer myself after all.
Yes, something I only discovered today. But all right, let's see what you think by the end of the story.
Deal. What's your friend's name?
St. Thomas Aquinas.
St. Thomas Aquinas. Okay. Yeah, sounds believable so far. Where did he live?
In Italy in the 1200s. He grew up in a town called Roccasecca.
Roccasecca. Roccasecca. Roccasecca.
Yeah, we get her. Thomas's parents were pretty rich, but as he was the youngest son, he was destined for a religious life and was sent away to a Benedictine monastery to begin studying when he was just 5 years old.
Bye.
Wow! I can already tell this kid's gonna be amazing!
He certainly received the best education you could get. But during his time away at university, he took an interest in the new religious order of the Dominicans and secretly joined them without telling his family.
Why did he do it secretly? I thought you said his parents were preparing him for a religious life.
They were, but they didn't want him to join the Dominican order. They wanted him to become a Benedictine monk instead. And when they found out he had secretly become a Dominican, they were very angry.
Well, there wasn't much they could do about it now, was there? He already joined.
That didn't stop them from trying. Thomas's mother sent his brothers to kidnap him, and for a whole year they kept him locked up in a tower near their home until he agreed to leave the Dominicans and become a Benedictine.
Wow, that must have been pretty desperate. Did he end up changing his mind?
Nope. He spent the time praying and teaching his sisters, and when he remained untempted by a certain trap his brothers attempted to spring on him, he was rewarded by God by a special girdle that was given him by 2 angels, which kept him free from any impurity for the rest of his life.
Oh, feathers and leaves, that's unbelievable. But I believe it. Did he get let out in the end?
Eventually, his mum saw that there was no use trying to dissuade him. So she arranged for him to escape out the window, and off Thomas went as a Dominican to continue his studies.
he was still studying. He must have been the smartest man in the world by now.
He was certainly very intelligent, but funnily enough, the other students used to make fun of him because they thought he was dumb.
Dumb Thomas? How could they think that?
Thomas was a very quiet student and would rarely speak out of modesty because he didn't want to seem like he was showing off.
Showing off, huh? I know what you're gonna say. I can learn something from it, I know. I do try. I just get carried away.
That's all right, Koco. We all need to learn not to show off too much, don't we, kids?
Katie, if Thomas was so smart, why didn't he become a teacher instead of a student?
He did. After he got ordained a priest, he began to teach theology at the University of Paris, although he never stopped studying even while he was teaching. He always wanted to learn more and more, especially about God, who he loved so deeply.
Is that what he wrote about then? About God?
Oh yes, Thomas wrote lots and lots about God and his teachings and how we understand certain things about God and the world.
Ah, I see. So Thomas wasn't a talker, but he sure was a writer.
He spoke when it was necessary, like when he was teaching or doing debates or having conversations. But he wrote so much that we remember him now, especially for his books.
You must have to be pretty smart to understand them, though, right?
No, actually. That's one of the things that makes Thomas so Koco amazing. Because he didn't just write things that only smart people can understand. He often wrote about complicated ideas in a simple and straightforward manner, so that even students could follow what he was saying.
That's good. Did lots of people listen to him and read his books?
Yes, Thomas travelled around Europe, teaching, preaching, writing and studying. He had a new way of thinking about things that allowed people to see that what we learn in the Bible and what we learn by looking at the world around us isn't opposite to each other as some people thought. Instead, those two things, faith, the knowledge God tells us directly in the Bible, and reason, the knowledge we gain by exploring the world and forming our own ideas, actually supports each other.
Okay, but what difference does that make anyway?
Thomas made people understand that people who believe God and the Bible and participate in religion aren't crazy or dumb or gullible. He explained how belief in God and his teachings and Christianity can not only be defended by using our reason, but is actually the most reasonable things for us to follow if we really understand the world we live in.
So basically, in simple bird terms, Thomas showed how it's not just the Bible that tells us about God, but the Bible is still super duper important.
Yeah, in simple bird terms.
Wow, I told Thomas was a genius. Were people convinced by his arguments?
Mostly. Want to know why he was so convincing?
Yeah, why?
Because when he argued for a certain topic, he didn't just say why his point of view was right. He also made sure he understood why his point of view might be wrong, and then gave answers to say why he was actually right.
Wait, so does that mean if I tried having an argument with Thomas, he would already know why I thought I was right, and then tell me why he was actually right?
Yep. And he'd probably be able to explain your point of view better than you could. So he would almost be arguing against himself.
Ah, feathers and leaves. I'd hate to have a debate with him. Do people still read his books today?
They certainly do. In fact, out of all the saints and Catholic writers in history, Thomas is one of the most respected and popular, even by people who aren't Catholic or aren't even Christian. He might have lived 800 years ago, but people today still think about the same questions which he discusses so clearly in his writings. Maybe when you kids are older, you might read some of his works or even study them in a lot of detail. I'm sure you'll wonder about many of the topics he writes about.
Katie, if I'm proud of what I've written and it's only part of the story of my Koco amazing life, Thomas must have been super duper proud of all he wrote.
Funnily enough, he wasn't.
Ah, Katie's really funny.
No, I'm serious. Thomas definitely had a deep understanding of God in his mind, but his love for God didn't just fill his heart, but his whole soul as well. As a result, he was never 100% satisfied with all that he learnt and wrote. One time when he was praying the Mass and was saying the words to change the bread into the real body of Jesus, he finally came to a point where he could write no more.
What? He didn't die, did he?
No, at least not in the ordinary sense. When Jesus was present in the form of the bread, Thomas heard his voice from the crucifix.
Really? What did Jesus say to him?
You have written well of me, Thomas. What would you have of me? Nothing, but you, Lord.
Nothing, except for Jesus himself. Why didn't I ask for that? You're right, Katie. Thomas really did love God more than anyone else. Did he really never write again after that?
Never ever again. When his confessor tried to encourage him to write more, all Thomas could tell him was that God had showed him so much of himself that everything he had written during his life now seemed as worthless as straw.
Thomas's writings as worthless as straw? Then my story must be like dirt or ashes, or no, like kangaroo droppings.
That's all right, Koco. People still love Thomas's writings, and I'm sure the bush animals will love reading about your Koco-amazing life too.
I hope so. But Katie, if Thomas didn't write anymore, what did he do?
He still taught and served the church, and especially prayed. But not long after, he became sick while traveling and soon died in the monastery he was passing by.
And then he was given the reward that he had asked from Jesus, right? In heaven. He really does have nothing except for God.
And when you have nothing except for God, you really have everything. Let's ask Thomas so that we can have everything in God. Dear St. Thomas Aquinas, thank you for giving your life to learning and teaching and for passing on so much of your knowledge to the world in your writings. Help us to want to know and love God more so that we can one day be happy with nothing except for God. Please pray for all students and teachers, especially those who are learning more about God.
I wish I went to school so I could be smart as St. Thomas.
Aw, I reckon you're pretty smart for a bird.
Really?
Yeah. How many birds do you know who are on a TV show telling kids about our awesome friends in heaven? Or how many birds have written a story about their life?
I guess you're right. So I'm like St. Thomas Aquinas of birds?
Yeah, maybe one day.
Cool. So one day there might be a kids show and they'll talk about my life story?
Oh, you never know, Koco. Miracles do happen sometimes.
I know, Katie. Test me with the riddle. Give me a sort of hard one.
Okay. There's a one-story house where everything is yellow. The walls are yellow, the furniture is yellow, even the floor is yellow. What colour are the stairs?
The stairs are yellow.
No, they're not yellow.
No. They're red.
No, they're not red.
They're purple.
Nope, not purple.
There's many stairs.
Nope. There's not many stairs. So let's think about it. So we've got a one-story house, right? Everything is yellow.
Yeah.
And I'm not lying. Everything is yellow.
Yeah.
And it's a one-story house.
Yeah.
What does one story mean?
Only one house.
There is one house and it's one story. What does that mean?
That means we tell one story about someone.
Not that kind of story, Koco. I mean, this kind of story is like levels in a house. So you can have level 1, level 2, level 3, or first story, second story, third story. But this house we're talking about only has one story. So there's only one level and everything in it is yellow. So what color are the stairs?
That means there would be no stairs.
Exactly, because there's only one level, so you don't need stairs.
You tricked me. I'm so used to mountains and stairs and all that people stuff. Did I pass the test though?
Yeah, good enough. You got there eventually.
Good thing we do one every time so I can practice more. Can we do another one right now?
No, we gotta do craft now.
Oh, okay. After craft.
No, after craft it's time to go.
No. Then when?
Next time, Koco. Next time, all right? Come on, you'll love the craft. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, it's craft time again. It's craft time, Koco. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. It's so crazy.
I know. And guess what we're making today? Since we're on a writing mood today, we're going to be making a quill. What's a quill, you ask? Well, a quill is like an olden day pen. And I'm sorry to say, Koco, but it's made out of a bird feather. But I don't think this one isn't a real bird feather. And we're going to stick it on the end of this pen to make a very simple quill. Because just like you wrote, St. Thomas Aquinas wrote a lot, and he wrote with a quill.
What's a quill?
Yep. All right, let's get started. What we need is obviously a pen, a feather, some tape, and some scissors to cut the tape. All right, let's do it. So we're going to stick the end of our feather onto the end of the pen like this. And then with our tape, all we're going to do, starting here, I'm going to get it, stick it on the end like this, and then wrap it around and start wrapping all the way up until you start getting to the feathery part of the feather. And once you get to the end, what do?
What?
You need to cut off the rest. Secure it on the end.
Wow.
There we go. And now you've got a pen with a feather on the end like a quill, and you can write to your heart's content. You don't have to worry about dipping in ink like poor St. Thomas Aquinas would have had to worry about dipping his quill in ink, because we've just got a normal pen just with a feather on the end, and you can write away. There we go. Writing, writing, writing. Hi kids, if you'd like some extra instructions on how to make this awesome quill, you can find it at swpals.org, and Koco and I would love to see you making your very own quills. Have fun!
Have fun, kids! People are so weird. They used to write with a part of me. I'm like a walking pen holder. Imagine how many quills you can make out of all my beautiful feathers.
Yeah, or imagine how many unwritten stories you're carrying around with you all the time.
Oh yeah, wow. I hardly need to write anything. I'm already a million stories in one.
Your chatting certainly makes up for it.
That's a funny joke. I think St. Thomas Aquinas would have loved to have a pet like me. Too bad I didn't live at the same time as he did.
Yeah, well maybe it's a good thing because he might have got distracted with all your talking.
Or maybe on the positive side, I could have given him inspiration.
Yeah, very likely. He just didn't know what he was missing out on.
At least I can give the kids inspiration. I'll be here next time, kids. Don't miss out on me like St. Thomas did. See you next time, kids.
See you next time, kids. St. Thomas Aquinas, help Jesus find us.
Come and play
with Katie and Koco.
that's the way.
Get ready, let's go.
Flying through the air with Koco,
Telling stories with Katie.
you and I together, meeting my friends, friends that help us every day,
Katie and Koco.
that help us every day.
Katie and Koco. Play and sing.
Pray and bring you and I, we do our thing. It's Katie and Koco.
Are you searching for answers? Discover your true identity. Stay tuned to Shalom World.